Hi everyone. Today I am going to be sharing how my first week after my total hip replacement went. And full disclosure, this is not to be construed as any medical advice. This is just my experience after having my hip replacement, and it's also my experience being a retired nurse. I did do orthopedic nursing like 25 years ago, and boy, things have changed so much since then. So that experience, my orthopedic nursing experience, did color my recovery or my perception of my recovery a little bit, and I'll explain about that a little bit later. But I'm also going to be sharing some tips and at the end of the video that may help you along your way. I know when I was getting ready for my surgery, I was very thirsty for any knowledge or any tips that I could find to help make things easier. I had my right hip replaced, and it was the anterior approach, so my incision is in the front of my thigh. And with that approach, you generally have less precautions after surgery because they're just spreading the muscles. They're not cutting any muscle tissue when they're doing that, doing the operation. And when I was doing orthopedic nursing, we had the implants and so forth have gotten so much better over the years. But back then, everybody had hip precautions. You couldn't bend your hip more than 90 degrees. And you have to be really careful about twisting and turning, and that was pretty much a lifelong precaution, I guess, with hip replacements. And we did see a lot of dislocations that came to us on the nursing floor and had to go back to surgery to have their hips put back in. And once you have a dislocation, your risk of having another one is higher. But with an anterior approach, you're preserving the muscles and it keeps everything together. But in my mind, I was still following those old precautions. And I'm still being super careful because I don't want anything to go wrong. I want my recovery to continue going well. So I'm actually 9 days after surgery now, and I can say that things are getting better. And I'll tell you how things went from surgery day onward. So I would recommend that you follow your surgeon's advice and recommendations as far as precautions for your hip replacement. And my surgeon has also warned me that my hip might feel a little different, a little weird. It might feel a little weird at first, and then you would get used to it, because the cartilage was all gone on my hip, and of course it was lower than my left hip, so he said that it might feel higher than the other one. I didn't experience that at all, which I was surprised. It just felt normal for me to walk with the walker after surgery, and I was able to bear weight, bearing weight as tolerated with the help of the walker, more for balance and definitely for safety. And everybody's experience is going to be different, especially when it comes to pain and pain management. People experience pain differently, and you just have to listen to your body and follow the advice of your doctor when you're doing that. So the day of surgery was a very long day for us. We had to get up at 3 in the morning. The hospital is an hour and a half away, and I had to take 2 showers preoperatively with some antibacterial soap, and so I had to do another one that morning or the middle of the night when we woke up, and in order to get there in time. So surgery went very well, had excellent care at the hospital. And I also had the option of going to an outpatient center, and I don't know, I just like the security of the hospital, I guess. So that's what I chose, where I chose to have my surgery. And when I had a spinal anesthesia for my surgery, so they have to wait for that to wear off before they can get you out of bed or out of the stretcher. And when that happened, physical therapy got me up and everything went very well. And I was like, great, this is going to be great. But however, they do put a nerve block, or at least for me, they gave me a nerve block, which helps with the pain post-operatively. And by the next morning, that had worn off. And overnight, I could tell that the swelling in my hip was happening, which is to be expected because, you know, those muscles have been insulted, I guess, from the surgery, and that's just a natural response. And that's where, you know, icing that your hip and elevating your hip comes in to keep that swelling down. And also the pain was worse that day one on that morning. And when I went to do my exercises, I found that there's one exercise where you kind of move your leg off to the side while you're laying in bed. I couldn't move my leg. It was very difficult to complete that exercise, whereas the day before I was like swinging through all the exercises. So I'm sure the swelling had something to do with that, but that did eventually get better, and I can do those exercises without a problem now. Day two, my pain was better. I was a little stiff, but I was able to get around a little bit better with the walker, with the help of my husband. We have a 2-level home, so he had to kind of help me go up and down the stairs if I needed to get back up to bed or go to the bathroom. So definitely having someone there helping you those first few days is very helpful. And on day 3 was about the same for me, just continuing with everything, the exercises and so forth. Day 4 to 5, and I had heard this from other people on YouTube that had a hip replacement, you're kind of hitting a wall, I guess, or feel like you're not making progress. And I did have more swelling and more pain at that time. But on the morning of day 5, I was also starting to wean off my pain medication, not because the doctor told me to, but because when I took my dose that morning, it just like hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm like, whoa, this is too much here. I just want to go back to bed. So I went through the rest of the day just taking the prescribed Tylenol that the doctor wanted me to take around the clock, and at the anti-inflammatory medication. And that night was a little rough, and so it took a lot of figuring out. I've been doing okay during the day since then without any pain medication, just the Tylenol and the anti-inflammatory. But at night I'm finding that I take half of an oxycodone, because by the end of the day I am more sore and more stiff, I guess, from the exercises and getting up and around more. So you just kind of have to listen to your body and see how you're feeling. You may need the pain medication longer. Like I said, everybody's experience is going to be different. Everybody's pain tolerance is different. So on day 6, the pain was better and still stiff in the morning, but it was more like if you've ever worked out or done like something heavy in the garden or whatever, and the next day you're feeling those achy muscles. That's what it felt like. It doesn't feel like my old arthritis pain. It just feels like an achy muscle, like it's been working. And it has been. We're getting our strength back. And on day 7, I have been getting home physical therapy, and she let me graduate to a cane, which was wonderful. And we did go do some walking outside here in the yard, and that it felt so good to be walking. It really, really did. I live in a small home, so I'm kind of limited on space to do the walking back and forth. So it's nice to get outside and enjoy some of the spring weather. But she did say, if you're tired at the end of the day, you can go back to your walker if you feel like you need that extra support. And one of my biggest concerns was I really don't want to fall. I want to be safe. And so that has been one of the recommendations I've been following. She also had another tip where the list of exercises to do, at least for me, are twice a day. And she said you can spread them out throughout the day. You don't have to do them all at once in the morning and then all at once later in the day. Just, you can spread them out a little bit more, just to keep that hip moving. That way you're not getting that stiffness from just laying down or sitting down. So, things that have helped me. So, I did get some tools ahead of time. And I did get a hip kit from Amazon, and I can leave a link down below if you're interested in purchasing that. And it did contain this long-handled sponge, so when you're showering, you can reach your feet and your lower leg. And of course, we have a grabber, which has also come in very handy for me if I drop something, which happens almost every day. I don't have to, I didn't feel like picking it up, but this was definitely a handy tool to have, or if you're trying to grab something on an upper shelf or something like that. And this dressing stick has also come in very handy, especially when I want to take my sneakers on and off. And I do have the Skechers slip-ons. You know, you don't have to tie the laces. It's already has elastic laces on it. But I did need this extra help to kind of maneuver them on and off initially. And I'm still actually using this. Also using it to help get dressed, help get my underwear and my pant leg on my operated leg. This has really been helpful. And this little hook on the end here also has been helpful for picking up things on the floor that the reacher couldn't quite grab. And this has also been very helpful. It's to help put your socks on, and whoever invented this, I give them lots of kudos. It's super easy to use. And I do recommend that you practice with all these tools before your surgery, so you're already had that practice built in, so it'll be much easier after your surgery. And the kit also came with a long shoehorn, which I haven't used because I do have those slip-in Skechers, but I think it would be very helpful if you have if you're using regular shoes. It would help you get them on and off. And lastly, for tools, you remember these? I think they're coming back, actually. This is a fanny pack. I don't know what they're calling them these days. I found this very helpful to put this around my waist. That way I could bring my phone with me, or any other smaller items that I wanted to carry back and forth, like my pain medicine or whatever, and anything that I wanted to keep handy. And for me, you know, if you're going to start out with a walker, most likely, and you can put a little bag on the front to carry things around. But then I just figured, if I fall and the walkers, you know, flew that way and I'm over here, at least I have my phone with me to call for help. My husband is here, but he, you know, he's peeking in throughout the day to make sure I'm okay and that if I need anything. But that was my communication tool, or if I've fallen and I can't get a button to have at the ready. So, and now that I'm using a cane, it definitely comes in handy to carry my phone around with me or any other small items, and it frees up my extra hand to hold on to something else. So definitely think about those tools that might be helpful for you. Also, be sure to be icing your hip as how many times the doctor recommends per day, and elevating your leg to keep the swelling down. The ice really does help with the discomfort right at the incision site. And doing your exercises, I would be icing and elevating after your exercises. Or for me, now that I'm more mobile, I may do the dishes here at the sink and then go and ice and elevate. And then if I want to go for a short walk outside, I come back and I ice and elevate. So just getting into that routine. I know it takes a little time, but it's all part of the healing process. And like I said, it does get better. I'm one of those people that is always on the go. I've always got a few things going, a few projects going. So it's hard for me to sit still, but I have to remember to give myself some grace and to let the healing process happen. And it will happen. I just have to be patient. Well, I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope some of this has been helpful for you, especially if you're planning to have a hip replacement yourself. And if you have any other tips or tricks of your own, please leave them down in the comments below. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time with another update.